It's another episode of The Hub on Vital MX. This is your one-stop shop for motocross news from around the world. And here we go. This weekend at the 16th round of the 2024 FIM Motocross World Championship, Antonio Caroli will return to action for the first time since 2022. This will be the first time he's competed in MXGP since 2021. He will debut the Ducati Desmo 450 on the international stage, and all around, it's going to be a very, very interesting experiment. Now, of course, I know a lot of people in Belgium and the Netherlands, and they tell me that at practice tracks, Caroli has been riding extremely well, so much so that his speed is comparable to the top 5 or even the podium finishers in MXGP. We know just how good of a sand rider Caroli is. So could he be an upset this weekend? Could he steal points from Tim Geiser potentially? Watch this space. In more Ducati news, I learned over the weekend that Ducati will not compete in 2026 Monster Energy Supercross. Instead, their full-time debut in the United States will be 2026 Pro Motocross. Of course, they will compete in MXGP full-time next year. Jeremy Sewer is rumoured to be the rider there. Speaking of 2025, what is Ken Roczen going to do? Because no contract has been signed yet. Well, on press day, he told us this.
Nothing is sorted at all. Dude, honestly, I'm not even sure what the details of my contract are. I think it goes until December just because of WSX, like that's how long it's going, right? But as of right now, I don't have anything for 2025, so I'm kind of wide open. Of course, I have a base and everything established with the team. I love working with them. I love working with Larry, and I value that a lot. So, but yeah, when it comes down to it, I don't have anything signed and whatnot. I haven't even asked my agent. I've kind of just been at home enjoying myself, doing work, and I guess it has to get figured out at some point, but I haven't even thought that far yet. So
Roczen is, of course, most likely to stay at Suzuki, but there are some finer details that need to be figured out there. I don't believe there's any reason to be concerned. Whatever happens, I would bet all of my money on Ken Roczen racing full-time once again in 2025. Some Motocross of Nations news now. Hayden Degan spoke about the prospect of competing for Team USA on press day, saying this.
No, it's up in the air. I mean, dude, I definitely want to go. That would be so sick. I mean, racing for your country, was pretty sick, and then I've never left the country, so leaving the country would be cool too.
In discussions around the paddock, it sounds like Hayden is now a possibility to go. In fact, it sounds like he could be in, which would be great for Team USA, of course, and great for the spectacle of the event as a whole. It's actually lining up to be one of the better Motocross of Nations, because potentially in the 450 class, you have Hurlings versus Prado versus Geiser versus Sexton versus both Lawrences, Roczen, Fevre. That's an incredible lineup. You're really not missing many, if any, elite talents. Of course, the third Team USA spot is up in the air. That could go to Eli Tomac, only adding to that incredible lineup. It seems unlikely that Max Anstey will make it to Matterley-Basin. He told us this on Saturday night.
This year would be fantastic to go and do the Nations, obviously back at Matterley. Mark and Star, the guys at Star have got to figure it out, but obviously Mark's budget is just a little bit less than what Star want to get the, I won't put out any numbers, but basically, Star want to do the job right.
Team GB will need Max Anstey in order to pull off a great result, because Britain's top MXGP rider, Ben Watson, is currently recovering from a torn ACL and won't make the event. It wasn't a great day at Unadilla for the 250 side of Honda HRC. Joe Shimoda ended up breaking his collarbone in that second moto crash. There is no official word on when he will be back. I think that he will try to make the first round of SMX, but that's not far away at all, so that could potentially be tight. Hymas pulled off in Moto 2 of Unadilla because he was feeling the effects of his Moto 1 crash, but HRC haven't made any mention of him missing Budds Creek, so I would presume that he is going to be back on form with absolutely no hesitation at the penultimate round of 2024 Pro Motocross this weekend. The biggest news this week is that Eli Tomac has committed to the entire 2024 FIM World Supercross Championship. Yes, he will race in Canada, Abu Dhabi, and Australia for the Australian CDR Yamaha team, an official team in the series. So whereas before, in Cardiff in 2022, he was a wild card, this time he will be on an official team, much like Ken Roczen. This is a huge signing for the series, as now a Tomac versus Roczen battle should engage fans around the world. And of course, it is useful for Tomac as it will give him valuable gate drops before the 2025 Monster Energy Supercross season. Although his deal for that hasn't been announced yet, you should expect a PR about his contract renewal with Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing real soon. Maybe even by this time next week. In more Yamaha news, it has been revealed that Cooper Webb will miss this weekend's event at Budds Creek after injuring his thumb in the second moto crash at Unadilla. It is important, though, to note that he did not injure the thumb in the same way that he did in Supercross. It is simply just a sprain. Sitting out Budds Creek is a precautionary measure to ensure that he will be at 100% when SMX begins on the first weekend in September. It has not been clarified whether he will race the Pro Motocross finale at Ironman next week, but for now, his SMX title charge does not appear to be in jeopardy. There was a lot of interesting stuff happening around the world this past weekend. Kyle Webster and Jed Beaton continued their incredible battle for the Pro MX title in Australia. Kyle Webster went 1-2 at the penultimate round, putting significant points on Jed Beaton, who went 6-1 after a first turn crash in Moto 1. The gap between the two is 14 points with 1 round remaining, so barring a disaster, it's most likely that Kyle Webster will claim the MX1 title. Brody Connolly, Kyle Webster's 250 teammate, won the MX2 title at the penultimate round this past weekend. And more champions were crowned in Canada. Jess Pettis and Kevin Benoit won the MX1 and MX2 titles respectively. So, what lies ahead this weekend? Well, there is a high chance, an extremely high chance, that another champion will be crowned. Hayden Degan is in a brilliant position to clinch a round early. Honestly, as long as he doesn't have a massive crash, some sort of significant issue, he will win the title. His gap is significant enough where there is little reason to stress. Chase Sexton will probably have to wait until the Ironman finale. It's actually worth noting that in both 2022 and 2023, Chase Sexton missed the overall podium once each season, and both times, randomly enough, it was at Budds Creek. I wonder if he'll be able to shake off that bad mojo this weekend and continue his streak of overall victories. And in Europe, of course, Antonio Caroli will be racing at Arnhem, so the 16th round of the 2024 FIM Motocross World Championship will take place in the Netherlands, the final sand race of the season. The MXGP title fight continues to grip fans. Tim Geiser leads Jorge Prado by 17 points. Jeffrey Hurlings is now 48 points down and needs a massive weekend in the sand. It's not over until it's over though, so watch this space. That's all this week. We will see you next week to recap another week in the world of motocross. Thank you for watching and listening.